Our selection of newspapers this morning include the Daily Times newspaper. VP Shettima criticizes UK's Badnoch, highlights Nigeria's global role. The details on the inside pages of the paper today. Blueprint, Tinubu to Tunji Ojo. For ease of visa, passport applications, you've made Nigeria proud globally, says Nigerians are one despite political differences. Batik will ensure automated visa service, others, that's according to the minister. Find the details of that story continue on the inside pages of the paper. The Nigerian News Direct has, under Tinubu, Federation account records 45% revenue growth. That's according to Ramfac. Find the details on page 3. This Nigeria newspaper, alleged 110 billion naira fraud. You must remain in Kure prison, court tells ex-governor Bello. Adjourns to January 29, 2025. Farotimi 2 returns to Ekiti Correctional Center in case with Afe Babalala. The details you'll find on page 4 of the paper. The Nigerian Tribune, Reps Southern Caucus backs tax reforms, says ready for negotiation with non-lawmakers. What tax reform bills will do for Nigeria, that's according to the Fiscal Responsibility Commission. Our stance aligns with Tinubu's vision, that's according to Ramfac. Details on the inside pages. Business Day, 11-year metering gap remains despite FG's 335 billion naira handout. It's the big story of the Business Day newspaper this morning. And these are the papers we have for you today.
So you've seen some of those dailies, but very interesting is Tinubu to Tunji Ojo, for ease of visa passport applications, you've made Nigerians proud globally. So the front page of Blueprint this morning highlights that narrative about what we've done, how we needed to ensure that agencies, ministries pull together to ensure ease of movement for travelers. Yes, it's a significant one. I mean, this $47 billion fingerprint technology market, it's of course huge and significant, but we only hope that the technology we do have is not imported technology, in the sense that we are the ones contributing to that economic market, to that market itself. Because, I mean, some of the things we read and hear appears as though NIMC isn't authorizing local tech, so government can run NIN enrollment and verification amongst its agents affordably, way more affordably. So some of those things, even NIBs too, all of those technology, what are we doing to ensure that they are local technology? So you don't house a lot of that data elsewhere. That we need to ensure that we build capacity, because we do have, yes, we do have that technology, local capacity, those who can do that. But something that we're going to dig deeper in the days ahead to ensure that what we've been told is what it is.
Well, as you said, there are quite a number of things to look at on the front pages this morning, but let me take a look at this Nigeria. I mean, a lot of things are running through my head, taking a look at that particular paper. First, the lead story there, former governor of Kogi State, yes, has been remanded in Kuje prison. And I'm wondering, whether this, I don't know if this case against Mr. Dele Farotimi is going to have any impact on his own case, because, I don't know. I'm just wondering.
People will say, what, you see what we told you?
Because when people start to make comparison, why was Mr. Farotimi in cuffs and you was not in cuffs? Why would they grant him bail and not grant this one bail? And those kind of, I just wonder if it will have any impact. I think lawyers can tell us, but that's not really what my attention is on this morning. That's just as an aside. The lead story the story I'd like to focus on is this one. FCT Minister decries city center satellite towns disconnect. Kicks off 15-kilometer tie road project. So that story is right there for you. We covered that yesterday, and it does appear, all the criticisms people have against the FCT minister, one thing you cannot take away what? Okay, I've been told it's pi. Pronounced EAI. There's a mistake right there. But never mind. 15 kilometers is what has been started. Just in case you're wondering where pi is, around the Buhari area council of the FCT. There's everything that he's keen on. It is that the satellite towns in the FCT feels development. The satellite towns, they must feel development. I think listening to him yesterday, he was saying something to the effect that the FCT that was started, how many years ago, was started in 1976. By now, we should be talking about 5 cities, nothing less than 5 cities, not just the main Abuja Municipal Council, which is about the only developed city. And there was a plan around this. So you find a number of other government agencies, for instance, JAM, University of Abuja, the Nigerian Law School, outside of the city for strategic reasons. The idea was that development should come to those areas as well as a result of some of the government agencies being there. But we're now beginning to see in the recent past, we're seeing a relocation of some of those government institutions back to Abuja Municipal, depriving those local communities of the development that ought to accrue to them as a result of these government institutions being there. So it's a good thing that, the FCT minister is concentrating on seeing how he can give a very good connection to those communities with the Abuja Municipal District. And also, because a lot of those places also have a lot of farmland, very fertile farmlands, around the Buhari area, around the Kuje area, around, you just name it, Gwagwalada, etc. What will it take for us to, do the roads for those places? And even people in the city can say, oh, we own farms in those satellite regions. After all, people in the FCT, they will eat, wouldn't they? So I think it's a good thing that this development is coming, and never mind.
Not portfolio farmers.
No, not portfolio farmers, real farmers. And it will surprise you to note the number of neighbors you have who actually own farms in these regions, in these particular areas. And I'm hoping that as development is going there, that the estate people will not follow them there. The developers will not follow them there. That will be able to protect a number of lands and say, look, whatever happens, these lands are reserved for farming, in the FCT. If we are able to feed ourselves in the FCT, is it a bad idea? So while the government institutions are there, and while, of course, there might be a demand for housing in those areas, I'm hoping that, we will be wise enough to also know that we should reserve a significant portion of those lands for agriculture. Ayo.
Well, thank you, Mawkwe. And I think in a way, what I'm interested in this morning is related to what you just said, particularly when you talk about agriculture. Most of agriculture expectedly happens in the rural areas. And we've been talking about rural electrification since the days of yore. Question is, how far so far? The front page of Business Day newspaper this morning draws our attention to this concern that the federal government has spent 335 billion naira to close the 11-year metering gap, and that gap still remains. I mean, we all remember, we've talked about it quite a number of times on this program, the different metering initiatives that the federal government of the day had come up with. The Meter Asset Provider Initiative was introduced in 2018. Then we had the National Mass Metering Program in 2020. We also remember that the seed capital of 200 billion naira was invested to facilitate the Nigeria electricity supply industry under that NMMP of the federal government. And we also understand there have been ongoing interventions of the Presidential Metering Initiative and several other initiatives come up with that. The question remains, how far so far? Yes, the law, constitution now allows states to generate electricity themselves, and we see that a number of states are already coming up with infrastructure around that, soft infrastructure and hard infrastructure perhaps also around that. But then, who's going to answer questions around this 335 billion naira that has been spent without anything to show for it? We understand that recently also the federal government said no one should pay for meters. Yet, if you do not pay more than 200,000 naira for a meter, you don't get it. So here is perhaps a call on the federal minister, the Minister of Power, to let's see what do Nigerians need to know? The National Electricity Regulatory Commission. What do Nigerians need to know about this? Again, we need to hear that, okay, this is the situation because people still get those crazy bills that they were getting in the 70s. I thought we had gone past this, but here we are, right there on the front page of Business Day newspaper. Maybe if you read the details, you get some more perspective. That said, let's take a short break, and when we return, our conversations begin.